Okay, so it's a nice sunny day and we are going to have a city tour, just a very short city tour, together with our driver Victor. There he is. Okay, what you see behind me is the church in the spilled blood, which marks the spot where Russian Emperor Alexander II was assassinated. And what you see here is one of the city's canals. It is called the Griboyedovo Canal. Right now it's covered with ice, but in the summer it looks very beautiful and romantic. There are 65 rivers and canals in the city all in all. Right now we are in the Square of Arts, which is called this way because there are 3 museums and 3 theaters in this square. And in the distance you can see a yellow building, which is the Russian Museum. It is the largest national museum in the world. And here is the circus, which is the oldest circus in Russia. It is called the Circus on Fontanka because it stands right on the embankment of Fontanka River. Okay, right now we are on Nevsky Prospect, the main avenue of the city, and we are right now on a bridge which is called the Anichkov Bridge, and it's decorated with statues of men taming horses, which are very famous. And actually this is an allegory of a man trying to tame nature, because this is what we had to do here in St. Petersburg, to build a city on a swamp. Here is the Cathedral of Our Lady of Kazan, which is the largest Orthodox cathedral in the city. Now in the distance you can see the House of Books, which is the oldest and the largest bookstore in the city. And once it belonged to Singer Sewing Machine Company. So here is St. Isaac's Square, which is one of the 3 largest squares in the city. The building behind me is St. Isaac's Cathedral. From the colonnade of this cathedral one can have a marvelous bird's-eye view of the city. The statue here is the statue to Nicholas I, the Russian emperor, and that brown building is a famous and one of the oldest hotels in the city, which is the Astoria Hotel. Now we have approached the Bronze Horseman, one of the symbols of the city. This is a statue to the founder of the city, Peter the Great, and the statue was put up on the order of Catherine the Great. So we are in the most famous part of the city, which is the Palace Square. This is the place where all the Russian revolutions happened, and the building behind me is the Winter Palace, which used to be the residence of Russian Tsars, and which is now one of the premises of the Hermitage Museum. The Hermitage Museum is the largest museum in Russia and the 4th largest museum in the world. It occupies 5 buildings, which stand one by the next one, and the column here is the Alexander column, and it commemorates the victory of Russia over Napoleon. Now in the distance you can see the Admiralty building, and on top of the spire of this building there is a ship, which is one of the symbols of the city. So right now we are on the embankment of the Neva, which is the main river of the city, and over there in the distance you can see the spit of Basil's Island, which used to be a harbor. And those 2 red columns that you see there used to be lighthouses, and now the fire is still lit on top on the days of national festivities. And what you can see here is Peter and Paul Fortress, which used to be a prison, and which is now the Museum of History of St. Petersburg. And in the cathedral, located on the territory of the fortress, all the Russian Tsars, starting from Peter I and up to Nicholas II, were buried.